What's up, boys and girls? This is old Stanky, and we're going to do episode 2 of Happy Hour with Stanky. Today, we're going to talk about springtime fishing with spinning rods. We're going to talk about the Shaky head, the Ned rig, the grub, and maybe a tube. I don't know. Today, my special guest is Brian, my best friend, my fishing partner, my life partner. He likes to go fishing with me whenever I let him go. Yeah, see, he loves me. He's the only one, but he loves me. So, to get started, let's talk about the Shaky head. All right. Let's talk about the Shaky head. So a lot of times when I go on guide trips and we're throwing the Shaky head or the Ned rig, I wind up catching a lot more fish than my clients catch. And they always ask me, they say, what am I doing wrong? Well, so here's the deal. When I fish a Shaky head, I make really long casts. I don't throw short casts to the bank. I throw long casts in front of the boat. You gotta make especially in clear water, you gotta make a long cast. You gotta get it away from the boat. The biggest thing that people do wrong when they throw a Shaky head is they wait to feel the thump or the tick or whatever. When I throw it out, I don't cock my bail. I leave it on the slack line. I let my bait fall like this. If you throw it out and you immediately cock your bail, your bait's gonna fall like this, back toward the boat. Fish don't like that. The whole thing with the Shaky head is you want it to fall straight down. Even with a Ned rig, you want it to fall straight down to the bottom. And here's the kicker. When you throw it out there and you get it way far away from the boat and that fish sees that splash and he keys in on it, he's gonna eat it before he gets to the bottom. So when you pick up on your rod, are you paying attention? Because I'm telling you the juice right here. When you pick up on your rod, he's already on there. And you guys and girls that you pick up, you cock it and you pick up like this and you start shaking it, they've got it and you just took it out of their mouth. I'm just telling you. Probably 90% of your bites on a Ned rig and a Shaky head and a wacky worm, when you throw it out there, they get it before it even hits the bottom. Or they get it when it hits the bottom and they eat it and you haven't even caught up your slack, but they're on there. And when you pick up and you feel that, I call it pressure. The guy that taught me how to fish, this has been 35 years ago. The guy that taught me how to fish a Shaky head, back then we didn't call it a Shaky head, we called it a jig head or a leadhead worm. It wasn't a Shaky head, but yeah, we did throw that years ago. And we threw the Ned rig back 30 years ago. We didn't call it a Ned rig. We just put a centipede on a jig head and same thing. But yeah, we threw that back in the 80s. We caught a lot of fish on it, like thousands of fish on it. But so that's the big secret, is when you throw that Ned rig or that Shaky head out there and you launch it way out there in clear water, they got it before it hits the bottom. Like 90% of the time, they got it before it hits the bottom. And when you pick up, that's the most crucial part of fishing with a spinning rod, especially in the spring, is when you pick up on it and you take up your slack and you wind it a little bit, you take up your slack, pick up easy. Don't be one of these guys that like picks up and starts shaking it. Because you know what? There's no shaking to a shaky head. I'm just telling you. Like, you maybe 10% of your bites come after you throw it out there and you let it hit the bottom and you start shaking it. And everybody that I take fishing wants to let it go down and they want to shake it. Well, you know what? That first time when you cock your reel and you reel up your slack and you start shaking it, it's in his mouth and he goes, pooh, and he spits it out. Just telling you. And if you're fishing braid to a fluoro leader on a shaky head or a Ned rig, you don't have to jerk. All you guys out there, all you girls, you don't have to reel down and jerk. You're not tarpon fishing. You're fishing with light line and a little hook. All you have to do is reel down, and when you feel him on there and you're pulling him and he's swimming with it, just start winding and lean back. Lean back. That's all you got to do. And what'll happen is you won't rip a big hole in their mouth. You'll hook them in the roof of the mouth, or you'll hook them in the side of the face, and there'll be a little hole, and they won't jump off. They won't come to the top. They can't jump off. You've got them. But you know what? If you reel down and you lay the wood to them, you're going to rip a big hole right there in the side of their face, and as soon as they jump, they're going to spit out your bait. Just telling you. So let's talk about shaky heads and sizes. So to me, there's 3 sizes of shaky heads. There's a 16th, if you can see that. There's an 1/8, and there's a 3/16. If you go above that, I don't go above that. You might have a better idea, but I'm telling you, I've been doing this for 35 years, fishing with a spinning rod and a shaky head, and I've caught thousands and thousands of fish. And you know what? Most of them have been on that right there, the 16th ounce jig head, shaky head. What I can say is there's a lot of these shaky heads on the market now, a lot of Ned rig heads on the market now. What you don't want is you don't want a jig head with a flimsy hook, because even if you're doing braid to fluoro, and even if you throw it way far away from the boat, when you lean into them, you don't want this hook right here. I don't know if you see that. You don't want that to flex, because if that flexes out, this is a good one. This is the Strike King, lead head, shaky head, Ned rig, whatever they call it. You want this heavy wire hook. You want a 1/0, maybe a 2/0. You can go smaller if it's a bigger gauge wire on the hook, but you do not want that to flex right there, because if you do, you'll miss half the fish you hook. If it's a little bit windier, you can throw the 1/8. If it's real windy, you can throw that one right there, the 3/16. And actually, with a 3/16 in the springtime, I'll put a Cinco type bait on that and chunk it way out there, especially if I'm fishing for smallmouth. And I'm telling you, 95% of the time, they'll eat it before it goes to the bottom. Fact. So, here's another one of my favorites right here. This is the spot remover. I think that's maybe an 1/8. I don't know. It's pretty big. And it's got a little bit a lighter wire hook in it, but it's got this little screw thing. So when you hook it, it's kind of at an angle, so you don't lose a lot of fish. But if you're throwing just a typical lead head like this with a worm, and they're not biting it, I promise you, especially at Amistad, places like that, if you put that on and you put a trick worm on there or a 6 cents finesse worm, they'll eat it. I don't know what it is about it. I'm not a fish, but the way it sits on the bottom, as soon as it hits the bottom, they'll eat it off the bottom. Another thing that I like to throw, this one of my favorites, is a Ned rig. I want to talk about that. Let me see if I can find one right over here. Hold on. That's too good. So, no, hold on. So I like a Ned rig with a weed guard. The Z-Man, they have a double cable weed guard, which I'm not a fan of, but it's probably the best out there right now that keeps you from getting hung up. Now this one right here, I don't know if you can see that. That one right there, that hook is too small. If you're fun fishing, I'll fish with this all day long because you're gonna lose. When you get a big one on, you're gonna lose it. But if you can get this one, let me see if I can find one right here. All right, here we go. If you're fishing in a tournament, I think this is an 1/8 ounce with a weed guard with a bigger hook. That's all I'm gonna throw right there. And so with a Z-Man, the little TRD, the small one, you kind of think that hook is too big for that bait, but it's not. And I'm gonna show you, and I'm sure a lot of you guys already know about this. So that color right there is called California Crawl. That's my favorite color. Anywhere, I don't care where you're at, they'll eat that color right there. So what I do is, and it depends. See, this has a dark side and this has a light side. So depending on the day, if it's bright, or if you're fishing for smallmouth versus largemouth, I might put dark side down. I might put light side down, like the chartreuse side down if I'm fishing for smallmouth. But if it's a dark day, I might put the dark side down. I don't know. So what you want to do, this thing has like a flat side and then it has like a tapered side on it. So what you want to do is you want to bend that weed guard out of the way. Let me get it very closer so you can see it. The key to this is you got to get this thing straight, okay? If it's crooked, you're not going to get any bites. So you weed that on there and you get it down. See, I already got it off a little bit. Get it down to a certain point, like that right there, and you push it up on there where you think it's going to be straight. And then, hold on, I lost my super glue. God dang it. What the hell did I do? Oh, here it is. So, take you a dab of super glue and put it right there on the neck of that hook, kind of under the head, not a whole lot, and then you push it up on there, like that right there, and see, that's still kind of crooked. See? A little bit, and then hold on, like that right there, and then you just let it sit there for a couple minutes, and you can literally fish with that bait for, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 days until they tear it up. Now, one thing that you want to know is a lot of times when the fish are really aggressive and they hit that, they'll kind of knock it silly and they'll fold it inside out. I can't explain it. You'll know when you see it. And when they do, and I don't want to pull on this, but when they do and they kind of knock it inside out, and they push it up on the hook, grab here at the top and grab the tail and pull down on it till it pops. And it'll go back straight again. But it's got to be, I don't know if you can see that, got to be straight or you're not going to get any bites. And like, if you can see that, I bent those weed guards back down. Sometimes I twist them together when they kind of get worn out, but that right there is a fish catching dude. Like, I've caught so many fish on that right there, and I know it looks like nothing, but they'll eat it. And once again, when you're throwing this, or you're throwing a shaky head, and I'll show you in a minute like how to rig a shaky head, all your bites are going to come on the fall. Like if you're waiting to feel a thump on a shaky head or a Ned rig, then you're losing out, because 90 to 95% of your bites, when it's falling away from the boat and it's getting toward the bottom, they're going to come up and they're going to eat it, and they're going to swim off with it. And when you pick up and you reel down and you pick up like that, you're pulling it out of their mouth. They feel that pressure and they spit it out. So when you throw it out there and you cock your bail and you pick up your slack, pick up real slow. And especially with a 16th ounce or an 1/8 ounce head, if you feel anything on there that feels like it's heavier than a 16th or an 1/8 ounce jig head and a bait, then start winding. And when you wind down that fish. You can pull that fish back toward the boat. Wind down, and that fish is swimming with it, and then wind fast and lean back. And I promise you, you will catch so many fish on this, it'll blow your mind. So I'm going to take, if I can find one here, I'm going to take this little 16th ounce jig head. I'm going to put on, I'm going to show you how to rig it. So this is a Zoom Trick worm, watermelon red, whatever. This light's kind of in my face, but get it in the middle. Push it to about right there, to about where it starts to make a turn, and then you push it out, and then you turn it around where the hook is facing the bait, and you push it up on there like that. Here's the important part though, is you want to measure right here where the bottom of the hook is, where it hits the bait, and you want to bend the bait, and you want to stick that bait in there just like that. And you can probably see through that bait right there how that hook it's almost wanting to come out. It wants to come out when it hits the fish's face, but I'm telling you, I've literally caught so many fish on that right there in my lifetime. It's not even funny. Just a straight worm. You can use a Cinco in the springtime. They like a Cinco, but they really like a straight 6 to 8 inch worm. Watermelon, green pumpkin, watermelon candy, watermelon red, green pumpkin magic. It doesn't matter. As long as it's a green or a green pumpkin, they'll eat it in the springtime. If they're getting ready to spawn, they'll eat it. So all you got to do is find a bank close to a spawning pocket. They're usually right outside the spawning areas. Maybe where the pocket turns out into the main lake, there's a little point there. They'll be either outside the point on the main lake, or if it's warmer, they'll be inside the point, up in the pocket on the sides. If it's really warm and it's a full moon, go all the way to the back of the pocket, chunk this back there and pick up on it. They'll already have it. And all you got to do is just start winding, and you'll catch a boatload. One other thing I want to talk about. So in the springtime, if you're fishing and it's warm and everything's good, and all of a sudden you have a cold front like we just had here with snow and cold temperatures, and the water cools down, here's one thing that you young kids don't know about, you little booger eaters, is a 3-inch kaolin grub. You can take it. You can take that 3-inch kaolin grub, and you can rig it on the same jig head Sometimes these jig heads though with the longer hooks are too big for these small grubs, so you can take one of these little Ned hooks. One thing you want to make sure is with these grubs is you always rig them to tail up. You don't want tail down. You want to rig them tail up. That's why they were made. So when you start rigging, you want to start out with your hook and you want to go down in the grub, but you want it when you're done, you want it tail up like that. And you'll catch more fish. I see a lot of people that rig them tail down. That's not the way they were made to run. So difference between a grub and a shaky head or a Ned rig is when you throw it out there, a lot of your bites will come on the fall when it's sinking, like the other baits. But when you count it down, say you're fishing in 10 foot of water and you count down to 7 or 8, you want to cock it and you want to start winding it real slow. It's just like a swim bait. It's an old school swim bait from the 70s and 80s. And a lot of times with this grub, you'll feel them thump it. Like they'll thump and you just start winding because they got it. Best colors for grub, a little white one. What do they call it? Smoked pepper is really good in clear water. Green, avocado, bluegill. If you stick with a clear, a white, and a green one, you got it covered. So that's an old school trick back from the 80s. A lot of you probably weren't even born in the 80s, but I was catching a lot of fish on these in the 80s. So just remember, if you're fishing and it gets cold and the water chills off and the fish aren't biting, get out a grub. Who knows what you'll catch. Other than that, let's see here. Well, I guess that's enough for tonight. I don't want to do a little brain overload on you. So if you like my videos, please, I'm gonna share this on Instagram and I'm gonna share this on YouTube. Please like my videos and follow me on Instagram and YouTube. I think I have like 24 followers on YouTube and I need like 1,124 followers. So if you like them, please share them. Please hit the like button. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Please follow me on Instagram. That's all I ask. It's really easy. Just hit the button. So until next time, this is old Stanky, and I hope you catch a lot of fish this week. Peace out. Bye.